in my life, I have been around at least 2 people that I can think of off the top of my head who were as close to verifiable as I can know, demon possessed. And they weren't all the time demon possessed. It was when they were incapacitated enough by either stress and alcohol, both. And eventually, when their hypothalamus or whatever gets submerged enough, then once you lose control of your vessel, there do seem to be demons that just keep it going and use your mouth and your body to say all kinds of hurtful, toxic stuff. And anyone that's been with a narcissist or like whatever, like someone that like threatens to kill themselves and just like becomes toxic, like completely different from who they were at the beginning, when it almost seemed too good to be true. I've only had that experience in a relationship once, and gosh, I just didn't think that could happen. I just didn't think it was like that this world was that like crazy, or that like that was gonna happen to me. I was like, oh, I finally deserve like a good relationship, and here we go. And then nope, fucking stabbed through on that one. And then even when I'm single, I feel like that longing to be with someone, maybe it's just physiological. It's like maybe it's just the natural hormones of the body saying copulate, like, because since I'm in my mid-30s, going on 37 this year, my body's been saying it more, even though like my libido's gone down because I'm not sexually active. So it's like my body isn't like that part of my physiological makeup isn't like having any demand go on, you know. So, but I still get that like it wants what it once remembered it had. And I think that's what these entities do. Like, and I could be totally off on this, I'm just superstitious, but like they kindle this longing, and then right when in your life path like something big's gonna happen, they bring someone in that's under their control and possessed by them, and at one point they come out and they just tear you to pieces emotionally tear you to pieces. Like they have to be next level possessed to actually like be physically abusive, which a lot of people go through that too. I actually did have that. It got physically abusive, but it wasn't like the physical abuse, at least for me, it wasn't severe enough like for it to be, it was just getting punched in the face, which yeah sucked, but I can handle like a punch in the face to me is like less abusive. I'm not condoning it, okay, but it's less painful to me than saying all that kind of hurtful, heartbreaking stuff that just, it's like a trust breaker. It's like, I trusted you, it's that we had something, and it's like if our love is a baby, it's like they murdered it. Like I don't feel that anymore, because I mean I do, but it's, you know what I mean. Like this isn't a rare thing. Like this happens to pretty much all of us, except for the few who are lucky enough to have a smooth ride. And there is a certain amount of people, for whatever reason, have a smooth ride. If it's the Archons allowing it, it's because if everyone had a shitty time down here, it's like we'd be like, it's like we'd actually come together and be like, what's going on? Like we're all under attack. It would be unanimous. But some people are like, I love my life, I have a good life. So yeah, there's challenges and stuff, but it's fine. Like it's tenable. It's acceptable. it's of an acceptable disposition, as opposed to an unacceptable disposition where people end their life. Clearly, that's a perfect example of an unacceptable disposition. And we live in a planet where people end their own life. Like, if that doesn't send shivers down our spine, like, I mean, there's even more terrifying things than just life being ended, like imprisonment and, abuse. It gets dark. It gets really dark down here. Thankfully, a lot of us are protected enough. I think there's also, there's these demons. It goes way back into the archaic, the Gnostic texts, which I've mentioned before. I'm not like a super advanced scholar. I've just read the stories of the Gnostic Gospels, basically the ones they left out of the Bible. And they, talk about the demons and angels. They're even in just the accepted canon. But they go into more detail about their origins. And the first Archon, which is the God of the Old Testament, which I know is total heresy to fundamentalist Christians. But if you think about it, and this is what I thought about when I transitioned from Christianity to not giving away my faith to any ideology, but just admitting the truth, which is that I don't know. And that's okay to admit the truth and not give away your faith to something that's going to dictate your life. And you don't actually know if that's true, but because they threatened eternal punishment, just in case, you better believe it, I think that's heresy. I think that's blasphemy. Like, that you want to believe in a God that requires sacrificing, is jealous. This is the God of the Old Testament I'm talking about. And then a lot of Christians will say, well, Jesus is the new, he's the fulfilled prophecy of the Old Testament. I'm not saying Jesus doesn't exist. He was probably an ascended master of sorts, that he actually went against the religion. And that's why they came after him. Because he was a threat to their regime, to their imperialist, subjecting people to their empire, which is just another, it's like colonizing, it's like dominator society, which is what Terence McKenna calls it. And these concepts are really good to think about because it gives you a perspective. Dominator society, what's the opposite of that? Partnership society, where communities come together to help the individual and everyone gets equal opportunity, which is, there's the illusion of that. But for those of us, like the housing crisis here, like even my friends who have a good job and making, I don't know, like 60 to 80 grand a year, which is like twice as much as I make, they still can't buy a house, or will not buy a house in Olympia because it's insanely, ridiculously expensive here. And you have to be like upper class to not have, or at least middle upper class to be able to pull off something like that. Or have been saving for a long time. Not really frugal. Which I am always working at that, but, it's very tough in a consumerist country. Or consumerist, it's pushed on us. We're all victims to the consumerism. And I don't think it's all that bad. I don't talk down about that like it's trendy to talk down about it. Because part of being a human and having a physical existence is being a consumer. Like, that's part of the experience. I mean, there's excessive consumption, which is just being addicted to buying things and like getting that pleasure from that, like the pleasure centers from basically getting yourself gifts. I have also, I know about that. It's just part of the world we live. We're all kind of victims to it. I would love to know what it would be like to live a life totally free of any kind of entity attachment, or like basically what that is, another term for it is invasive thoughts, and like invasive desires, like desires that you don't want to have. It's like, I don't want to be pining for a relationship. I have it good. Like, I'm fine. Like, I don't want that want. I don't want to be wanting. And even though I haven't been active in that realm, it's like there's still some kind of entity or something wanting that. And maybe I'm just being superstitious, and it's just our makeup. But even then, the archons, what archons mean, it's like archetypes. That's the word it comes from. And it's all the archetypes of the mind. And what that is, you know, like fear, jealousy, all the human emotions. It's like the Joker is an archetype. There's the archetype of the leader. There's the archetype of the seeker. So they're not all bad, but there's the ones that are like, we could do without them. We could learn a lot better without them, you know? So that's my little bit for the day. I'd love to hear your thoughts.